Patch review. All right, so let's go through these. I actually haven't seen some of these, so you get a true reaction out of this.
Welcome back.
Also, oh shit, Uncle of King's got his fucking emote. Let's go, baby. Oh, it looks so good. Coro, thank you for the double Twitch, baby. Still haven't even named the first. All hunters got buffed. Well, let's take a look. All right, so what do we got? The new rank stuff. Season split 4 begins. This is a big change that people were asking for. Less punishing on the soft resets. Reduced conquest ranked queue time. It takes forever to get into the games, and then when you're in the games, it takes forever to pick and ban. So they narrowed that down, which is great. More bans. I hate this change. I hate more bans. I think, and it is the position of some people at Titanforge that they don't like more bans. And the reason for that is that when you have more bans, you are saying that you don't want to balance the game properly, right? Because no matter what happens, no matter how many bans you have, the meta stuff is always going to rise to the top, right? There's just, I mean, and all adding a ban is doing is saying that it's just one less god that you're not going to see in your games. There's going to be a higher ban rate for a lot of different characters. Ajax talked about this. And I would almost rather they make it so there's only 4 OP gods in the game that everybody agrees to ban and then go from there. Bans in the first stage of bans, right? The first set of bans are cheap balancing. Bans in the second phase of bans are good because that's strategy, right? You're fucking up your enemy's strategy. I like another ban in the second phase. I hate it in the first one. All right, moving on. Quicker draft lobbies. Hell yeah. Arthurian Tree, Gem of Fate, the cooldown reduction and power is great. Magical power, defense, awesome. Actually, I think the tier 2s of these are going to be really high value. This is like one of the only items I've seen where like you could pick up the tier 2 and just hold off on the tier 3 and you'd still be fine, right? Like, I don't know, 30 power, 10% cooldown reduction is like what? It's like a mini Jotuns. Anyway, all right, let's move into the broken shit because everybody thinks they're broken, but it's okay. Well, yeah, I mean, my point is that phase one bans are just cheap balance. Like if those gods weren't OP, you wouldn't have to ban them. You wouldn't feel like you have to ban them. All right. Fail not, hunter only, 20% cooldown reduction, ridiculous. Physical power, an unbelievable amount. That's like you're nearing, not quite Bloodforge, but I mean, that's more than Xe, that's more than Kins, that's more than any of the other stuff that they build. Critical strike chance, little confusing here. Kind of think that Jingwei is going to be pretty fucking broken here. I think this is going to break Jingwei in half because she can ult into a team fight, use her 2, and then she could use her 2, ult, and then for the 5 auto attacks after that have 75% crit chance. Wait, oh, 15%. Never mind. Okay, critical strike by 15. I thought it was 50, right? So with no crit built in just this item, Jingwei gets, what is it, 65% crit chance just off of her 2. So 5 autos with no crit built at 65% chance. It means all she has to build is a rage, and she gets 100% crit chance if she ults into a team fight and uses her 2 and attacks with this. This item, I think, is going to see a lot of nerfs. And it also makes hunters like way slipperier with the cooldown reduction. Getting cooldown reduction on hunters was always like a choice where you're giving up something else. There's no reason not to buy this item, except that it's expensive. Ult then ability? No, if you use your ability before you ult. So if I use my explosive bolts, right? Oh, no, I didn't realize you guys can't see notes. Okay, I will fix that. Hang on. Hi, YouTube. I'm a cuck. Okay. So if you use your explosive bolts and then you ult, when you land, you have a wider shot angle to apply this crit strike chance for 6 seconds. You get 3 explosive bolts that you can shoot. The first one will proc this critical strike. The next 2 will have the benefit of the critical strike, right? And then you can pop it again and get another 3 off with this critical strike bonus damage in the next 10 seconds, right? So you use it, and then you ult, and then you fucking 2 the shit out of people. Patch notes are up. They're right here. Right, yeah. But it's abilities or autos. That was it. It wasn't in the patch notes, but it is or autos. So just hitting her with her splash auto damage here. Like I'm thinking of like Medusa here is insane. Medusa I think is the other one that's nuts on this, because you ult and then splash damage them with your 2. You could hit a whole fucking team like that. Right? Yeah, I mean Apollo the same. Anyway, ult ability damage crit. No, you could do it with an auto attack. So I could literally just hit somebody with an auto, and they're dead, or you know, and they have this passive applied to them. It's not just abilities; it is auto attacks. He confirmed this on the patch notes. This is supposed to say that it's auto attacks too. Yes, the notes are incorrect. Erendite, I mean, this one, you know, it's cheaper than the rest of them. Cooldown reduction, a nice chunk of power. This isn't bad power here. But I kind of like, who do I really need this on, right? The only person I think that could make extreme use of this is Mercury. Everybody else, generally with speed buff and Assassin's Blessing and everything else, like you're fast enough that you don't need this, right? Like, you can run pretty much anybody down with a Talaria and whatever this is. And the speed buff. Ability isn't crit. What are you talking about? The notes are wrong. Most OP Hunter got a huge buff. I don't think Jing is OP. I think she is she's a counter and safe pick. No, it's just basics from your team that can be critically struck. But your 2 on Jing Wei is a basic attack, right? So owie. Right? This whole revealing enemy things is cool. I don't know if it breaks stealth or if it just reveals them. It'd be a cool counter to like Ao Kuang. I think Mercury is going to be super powerful here, but I think you're only going to see it really picked up on him. That's the only one I could see making decent use of this. Everybody else's mobility, you just run people down. Merc's just going to get the benefit of the movement, 30% increased movement speed, which is going to give him extra power. And then, you know, his single auto attack off of his passive. If you have your passive meter fully charged, you get 30% increased movement speed. You already have a ton of movement speed and you have a ton of power. And then you auto somebody with that like one-shot charged auto and it crits. You're just going to blow people up. Merc, I think, is going to be in the meta pretty hardcore with this item. Anyone with chase ability? I mean, I think it'll be fine. I just don't think you need it. Yeah, Set I think would probably be pretty good too. But again, like I think Merc's back in the meta off of this. Set, I don't know. Like this doesn't help like Thor or literally anybody else. Stream lag. I'm not dropping frames, so you should be good. All right, Staff of Mirrodin. This I think has some of the coolest applications to it. The Staff of Mirrodin. Guardians only and mages. I think this could be really powerful on guardians that are ahead. Like 2 Athena taunts, 2 Ymir freezes, like 2 Kuzenbo pushes. That's insane. I mean, it's an unbelievable amount of CC potential, you know, and magical power and cooldown reduction. Like you could build tanky enough on supports that you can afford 1 power item. I mean, what Terra is not too long ago we're building Soul Reaver even in the dual lane, so it's not that hard to believe that you would you'd go that route. So anyway, yeah, double Geb Shield, double Scylla Crush late game. Yeah, double Thorns, double Bacchus flops. You know, double burps on Bacchus. I mean, imagine that. It's an AoE fucking stun. I think the big one I think would be cool is you're going to see this on like Geb jungles because the scaling on his 2 and the amount of damage that it does is fucking nuts. So you just blink alt 2 and then 2 them again, and it's just gonna do a shitload of damage. Like, you're gonna one-shot people with this thing, and you don't need that much CC to do it. What's up, Carpet Skittle? Eric, quadruple wall. I mean, you have to collapse the other ones before you can use the new ones. Contagion, or anyway, Puritan. This, I think it's okay. I think this would be good if you're slightly behind. It's 2,400 gold item, so it's not too expensive. Physical and magical prots and a shield. I think it's pretty good. I think you're gonna buy this more often than not as a guardian, which is fun. Allows you to get off some damage. Allows you to blink in the middle of team fights and use your ult and feel good about it. This I think is going to be valuable for gods that have decent lockdown outside, like after their ult, right? So if you just blink like Xing Chan ult, you're not going to be near anybody to detonate the shield. So this one will be interesting. I mean, I'll be watching this from a support perspective. I think it's pretty good. It's got great stats on it. Like if you just remove this passive, right? Like this is a good item. You know, you know, minus the health, this is basically like a lesser Thebes with cooldown on it in terms of physical and magical prots. Like, I mean, it's a good item. Okay. Does Nike get a double shield with that? I'd imagine so, yeah. I think she'll be a strong support candidate. Contagion, I hate this item. I hate everything about it. I think it is a I don't want to say it's a cop-out, but you know, having this available from level 6 is 2,000 gold. Having this available from level 6 where you can just spec into it and fuck over anybody that's got sustain in their kit. 60 fizz prots, health, mana. I mean, like Guan Yu, goodbye. Like you're never gonna see him ever again. You know, some of these gods that make use of Glad Shield really well, you're never gonna see him again. Like I hate the idea of a physical protection item with like a pestilence effect on it, because you just counter all of the warriors that have decent sustain and it just makes the lane boring. Physical pestilence is great. Yeah, it's great when you're fighting against Arthur and shit like that, but it's gonna, like, people bitch about like the lane being boring as it is. It's like, okay, so here's how you counter every god in lane is you pick Cerberus, you build this item, and then nobody can heal. And you just, you get all of the healing, they get none of the healing. And then they have to spec in a pestilence to counter you, but you get this item for free, and it's, you know, what, 200 gold less or something like that? It's got health and mana and MP5. Like, I mean, this is a must buy in the soul lane if you're playing against a physical soul laner. Hi, Lady Minty. I think it should 100. It's just going to be my next point, Vengeance. I think this should be closer cost to pestilence, if not more expensive. I think like 2350 is okay for this, because it forces you to make a decision of, do I want this or do I want breastplate for cooldowns or something like that. Anyway, Monocrypt, Hasten Ring. I don't know. I have problems with nerfing the shit out of mage ADCs the second they get into the meta. So I like the fact that Hasten Ring has more power on it, even though it's costing more. But again, I mean, it kind of sucks. Like, we've had mage ADCs for like what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, not even, and just nerfing the shit out of them is pretty bad. What's up, APOC? Sorry, I'm going through the patch notes real quick, and then I'll show back up in chat. I promise. Yeah, I hate the idea of this item. If I can remove this from the game, I would. I think it's gonna make the soul lane just fucking boring to play. Do more, but why? Oh, there you go. Okay, so this is actually going to be more viable. I thought they were reducing. Never mind, I thought it was a nerf. This is a buff. Do more is going to be good now. People are actually going to buy it. Spear of Deso. Passive chase from 1 second to 2 seconds. Ooh, I think you're going to see a lot more Doomorbs and Desos. These look like they're mage buffs. Decreased cost. E-Staff, you're going to see this on more soul laners. Jada Emperor's Crown. I don't know, it's a good enough item. I think there's just better stuff that you can buy. Ace of Katana increase is boring, but I understand it. Haste is a really good effect, and making it cost a lot is good. Talaria boots, decreasing physical power. This is directly aimed at junglers. Being a jungler is going to suck after this patch. Ninja Tabby is a warrior, or excuse me, a hunter buff. Kin size. Hunter buff, Wind Demon, dropping that down. I think you're going to see more people building into crit, especially with that the hunter item from the Arthurian tree. Ichabal. I love Ichabal. I love the fact that it's dropping a cost. I actually think you're going to see this on more auto attack based assassins. So I think what you're going to see is, I think the reason they did this, the increase the haste katana cost, is because if you get the buffs on Ichabal and Kins and everything else, and you don't decrease the cost, or you don't decrease the efficacy of katana, you're looking at a meta where Kali, Baka, Arachne just fucking destroy everybody. So dropping the cost on these while increasing the cost of this buffs hunters without increasing the viability of the auto attack based assassins. Runic shield, increased health. I mean, 50 health isn't earth shattering. Maybe it's easier to counter guardians in lane. They probably need this because if I've got a guardian that's building straight into that contagion shit, I need something that's gonna make me more viable against them. The Thebes buff, I don't fucking understand at all. It's already a great item. Bulwark, nobody ever bought it. So that'll be good. Talisman of Energy. Yeah, the passive on this is good. I mean, I don't know if people are going to buy it. And then the Relic Dagger buff is fucking insane. This is nuts. 40 seconds off your blink, your frenzy, your fucking heavenly. Like, I mean, you could just take objective. Horus with this is going to be an absolute monster because all you're going to do is you're going to have upgraded frenzy on like an 80-second cooldown or a 65-second cooldown, whatever the fuck it is. I mean, I don't know what it is. Right. And all you're going to do is you're going to frenzy every minute and a half to a different objective. And you're just going to take the objective. You're just going to roll around with your team and you're just going to take objectives with this. Only Freya built it. No, there are a couple other gods that build it. Nobody tried to build that item because it just didn't offer enough power. You're better off just going into power and trying to hit more autos in a shorter period of time. Relic Dagger, I agree, is one of the most underrated items in the entire game. Should we go into the god balance or should we stop there for YouTube? Because I have a lot of thoughts on these. What's up, Redneck? All right, we'll stop there for that YouTube video. Clip it, cut it, Charlie. Put it on the internet. Go. All right, second YouTube video starts now. We're going to analyze gods that had changes. Real quick, Amuzikab Bees is his passive. Decreased base damage from 9 to 5. Excellent. That god's annoying. I hate Amuzikab with a passion. I think he is one of the worst gods for the game because he's so frustrating to play against. Base damage on his 2 and scaling on his 2 being reduced. I don't know that that's that big of an issue. The reason for that is, the annoying part of Amuzikab was never his 2. It's his honey and his 1, and the fact that he can sustain and poke the shit out of you with his 3 without taking any damage and, staying out of the team fight, which makes, this, I don't know. I mean, I get that they're trying to nerf him without killing him, but I don't know that this is going to have a huge impact on him. All right, Shifting Sands. I like it. Better early game off of his 1. Increased range. The Impale pre-fire, thank God. I play a lot on her, and not having your spear go where you're aiming because of the pre-fire is fucking awful. It's like Uller Axe back in the day, but not as dramatic. And then having a targeter when you're channeling this ability is so fucking great. You're kind of like, because the spears like come out on like a delay, you're always like wondering where you're tracking to try and hit these. And so, this I think will have a big impact on Honor's viability, especially it makes him a better early game guy because you're gonna hit your spears more reliably, you're gonna hit your impales more reliably, and you're gonna do more damage with the Shifting Sands. All right, Audacity. Each damaging ability adds 2 stacks of Audacity for each enemy god hit. God damn. Wait a minute. So what? That's his. So I can alt 1-3 somebody and basically have a full passive. Or I can use my passive, 1-3 them, and then almost get my passive back. That's going to be fucking nuts. You land all the ticks on his ult, you have full passive. Holy shit. Increased duration of the buff and debuff from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. That's impactful right there. Having a faster movement speed and slow on the enemies. I think Apollo's gonna be good. Ares, buff it, baby. Burn it down. Where is it? Burn it all to the ground. Ares is gonna be OP. He's got clear. He's got lockdown. He's got a great ult. Ares is gonna be good. Apollo's gonna be good. Apollo's gonna be good. Ares is gonna be good. Shock. I hope he stays shit. You know, you can use his ult for setup now, but I mean, most people, I mean, you just use it as an engage and a disrupt to get people to scatter like cockroaches. And the torrent cooldown, yeah, I mean, I think it matches you being able to throw his wand and teleport to it a little bit more reliably. I like the cooldown buff there, but I mean, I kind of hope Shock still stays shitty. All right, Erlang Shen, possibly the most irrelevant buff in the entire game. All right, so here's the deal. The only reason that Erlang Shen's 1, Zax doesn't have a cooldown. Yeah, it's very short. The only reason that Erlang's 1 is good is for level 1. And that's it. That's it. The only reason it's good. Okay? Some of you may disagree with me, but you start as 1, and then you max your 3, you max your 2, you max your 1, and you max your ult. The free damage from his 1, you don't really get online until you're, what, level 12 anyway? 12 to, what, 18? Or 15? Right? 16. Yeah, 16. The free damage for his 1, you don't use until level 12 to 16. And then the other thing is that this base damage is only useful level 1 when you can just auto the shit out of camps with his cleave and clear them. So this is either going to do 2 things. People start as 3 right now. Well, they're wrong. On Erlang, you should never start your 3. You should always start your 1. It's better clear. Flat out, like, that better clear allows you to get to mid lane before the mid laner hits level 2, so you can gank them with your blink. But here's the thing, is just nerfing this is going to either do one of 2 things. It's going to slow down his early game, his level 1 through 3, right? Because all you're doing is you're slowing down his first 3 camp clears. So you're either going to slow that down, or you're going to force people into picking his 3 or his 2 for the first 2 abilities that you get instead of his 1 and his 3. And so what's going to happen here is you're going to get a lot more level 2 ganks in the mid lane because people are going to have their turtle into their pin, or you're just going to slow them down. People are going to get the 1 anyway, and it's just going to take them a little bit longer to clear. Like, you know, what, 10 base damage off the 1? Like, yeah, it's a lot, but, you know, over the course of a couple auto attacks, you know, I mean, it is a lot of damage, but he's got cleave autos. He's got good early base damage on his auto attacks. Like, I don't think this is as big a nerf as people think. You start the 3 in solo, and in duo, you can start at your 1. Or sorry, not your 1. You start your 2 if you want to go for an early kill. But in the jungle, you should almost always start your 1. It's just going to get better level 1 clear. That's the whole point, is you get to the mid lane faster than everybody else. Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing, is that, like, who the fuck is maxing their 1 early game on Erlang Shen? Like, you should never do that. You should always max your 3 first, because it's the most burst damage you can get out of his entire kit, is minking the shit out of somebody. And then the second highest burst damage you get out of his entire kit is the 2. So even if you don't kill somebody, if you just fucking mink to them, you half health them. Like, why do you need the 1? You have to get so many auto attacks off for this base damage to equal the amount of damage out of your 2 or your 3. It makes no sense to level this ability. So this only nerfs his early game clear. I play a shitload of Erlang Shen. This is a nerf, but not a huge one. All right. Yeah, and plus, you can chuck, like, when you hurl your pin and you pin people early game, it's such good poke. You're standing in the mid wave and you got a level 10 or 11 mid laner on the opposite end, and your 2 does like 300 damage, base damage, without any power, or it's like 250 or something like that. It's like a quarter of a mid mage's health at level 10. It's insane. On like a 12-second cooldown, just all you have to do. Fafnir, Cursed Strength. Fafnir's nerfed into the dirt. People are going to hit his hammers more, so he's going to get higher play because noobs are going to be able to play him. But his objective burn isn't as good at all, which is pretty much the only reason you pick him. His control isn't even that good. He's got good survivability, but I mean, this is a noob friendly move, right? Without breaking him in the SPL. This is going to be easier to hit, so people won't be frustrated by playing him, but they're going to nerf the shit out of him here, which they probably wanted to do anyway without thinking of this buff, because he's so dominant right now in comps where you want to take a whole shitload of objectives. Yeah, plus the what is it, Brutal Mangelini time, where you're getting like 2 Fafnirs to do double ults with Soul Reaver and shit like that on a new one. Like, fuck that. All right. Freya, good riddance. She's garbage now. Isis is going to be good. Isis is going to be sick. We help with some of these buffs here. Increasing the range of her passive. Great. So she can pick that up quicker. Spirit Ball. You know, being able to refire this when dead or CC'd is awesome because you can self-peel against somebody who gets the drop on you. Dispel magic. This is kind of nuts. I think you're going to see Isis support because of the shield, especially with a whole shitload of cooldown. I think this is going to be pretty valuable. And then circle of protection, you know, being able to sit in this when, you know, the enemy team's unloading on you guys. 25% mitigation is insane. Like, absolutely insane. If you combine this with like a Phantom, I know it sounds weird, but it's 40% mitigation just for popping your ult and a relic. Like, that is nuts. Isis is big pog. She's back in the meta. I love it. Merlin, fuck this god. I hope he stays nerfed. You're gonna be able to get out of his shit much easier when he throws it on the blizzard stance. Eclipse, I don't really think that hits him too hard. And then increasing the cooldown before you can stance switch is good, but I don't think it's that big of a nerf. Like, early game, you can't do it as often, so you got to make really good decisions about what you're picking. Late game, it doesn't mean shit. Nem, this is a great buff. 50% damage reflected all ranks. I think you'll actually see Nem in solo because of this, depending on who she's matched up against. Because if you can reflect 50% of the damage that your soul laner is trying to use on wave clear, it's like using like half an ability on them. It's great. If you can just do that over and over and over again, sustain yourself up, it's awesome. But if they have CC, you're not going to want to run them. Yeah, exactly. And 100% healing. So, I mean, if Kuzumbo throws his 1 at you and it does 200 damage, 100% of it's going to go to Kuzumbo and you're going to get a 200 damage heal. Like, that's fucking insane. Yeah, Nem's back with that. I think you're going to see her more in solo than anything else. But I don't think this impacts her in the jungle. Her in the jungle has never been about the shield, realistically. It's always been about the 1 and the 2 and the ult. Universe ring toss. Nerf this god. He sucks. So everybody thought this was a buff. They're like increased damage reduction, which is fucking hysterical. Twitch chat was going crazy, or Mixer chat was going crazy. This just means that the subsequent hits, if you get hit more than once by ring toss, it's not going to half health you. It's going to do less damage, 35% less damage. So if it was going to hit you for 100, if it hit you for 100 on the first one, it would have hit you for 75, and now it'll hit you for, what, 65. So decreasing the slow. This is huge because you can't just ring toss somebody and run them down and kill them. You have to get a double bounce on them. If you throw it into a team fight, it's going to be less impactful. Love the nerfs here. Nike. Ooh. Nike. What do we think about the Nike buffs? I know Redneck is moist over these. All right. Let's talk about the passive first, and then we'll get into the rest of them. The passive being nerfed is good. The passive being nerfed is Titan Forge saying we think the rest of her kit is valuable enough that she doesn't need to be a walking aura in order to be a good god, right? If you think about it realistically, like just existing on the battlefield and having that be the thing that makes you a good god is depressing, right? Literally, you don't have to do anything. You just show up, you eat a whole bunch of ults and autos and everything like that, and you make your team more powerful. There's nothing that feels worse in the entirety of Smite, right? So I like this nerf because it means that they're confident that the rest of her abilities are going to make up for it. Rend, having this always hit 3 times is amazing. Her clear is going to be awesome. You can build her ability base now. This protective barrier thing is actually pretty sick. It's like a lot of the Overwatch front lines where you can kind of like sit out in front, and like Fernando in Paladins, where you can just throw up a shield and kind of move around and block autos. You know, she's a little slower when that happens, but like this contributes to the whole like Nike is a meat shield thing, right? So, you know, you leap in, you use your shield, and then when this goes down, you pop your ultimate and you just eat more bullshit, right? I think that is, or the opposite direction, right? You eat a whole bunch of bullshit with the health shield, and then you pop your 2 to defend yourself. I like this ability. I like the fact that it can do damage, either at the end or when she refires it. I think it all around, it's going to make her feel better to play, because she's going to, I think she'll be way more aggressive in lane too. But yeah. Yeah, Paladins. Nike's going to be nasty, man. I mean, being able to leap on people at the faster speed, that is like one of the fastest and best leaps in the entire game. And it's a knockup. I could see them removing the knockup in favor of some other CC, like a root, or you know, even like a slow or something like that. I mean, it's kind of a Hun Bats one, but like a knockup at that speed is very quick, like almost undodgeable. I think she does lose the HP 5 in the 2. But again, I mean, she loses the HP 5, but now she has 3 abilities that she can use to proc Glad Shield. Like, she instantly becomes a Glad Shield character, because you rend people and then you 2 them, and then, you know, with the burst damage at the end of it, and then you leap on them, right? Like, I mean, it's like a Camazotz, right? So you can use Glad Shield pretty effectively, you know, moving forward. I think she's going to be awesome. I think she'll be a better support than anything else. She can just stand in the front of the wave and block autos. And then Sentinel Zeus getting adjusted. This is because you don't have the bonus off of plan of action, so she gets the health shield. It's like a happy medium between the base health shield and whatever the buffed health shield was. All right. Raven Shout, decrease cooldown from 15 seconds to 11. I don't think this helps Odin at all. Maybe a little bit. I think Odin's going to continue to be shit until something's done about his ultimate, but we will see. Moving on. Olerin. It looks like, okay, so there was a bug where he was doing too much damage with this, and then they increased the base damage per shot and the power scaling per shot on his 2. So I think it'll probably do the same amount of damage. It just doesn't have a scaling bug to it. It sounds like they just buffed it, so it just does what it was doing when it was bugged. Except subsequent hits will deal 20% less damage. Okay, that makes more sense. And then decrease the minimum damage that each shot can do from 20% of total damage to 10. I guess this is a little bit of a nerf for this ability. And it's randomized from the second. All right, so this is no longer the most OP ability in the entire game. I got you, demo. All right. Olerin, I think, is going to be strong just because of his ult. I think he's not going to be OP because of his 2. Rama, Astral Barrage. Wait a minute, that's his ultimate. So his ult has higher base damage. So 70, 85, and 100%. That's actually pretty sick. That means you're going to get more value out of the first 2 shots, which is good. Reduced damage. Yeah.
Poor motherfucker.
Henry, thank you for the follow. I don't know how I feel about this. I think what it is you get the same total damage if you hit all. Yeah, exactly. You get the same total damage if you hit all 3, but it front loads the damage a little bit, so that you, if you only hit the first 2 shots, it's not a worthless ability. Scotty, this is busted. Shout outs to T Money. Hope to see you back soon. But a 10% increase in physical power on a god that you typically build full power on. This is going to be insane. I would send Calder in to die just so I could beat people's asses. faster hit point regeneration. We talked about this one. We didn't talk about this one in the Olympian meetings. Faster hit point regeneration. So I guess you're not going to have this physical power buff all the time, and it's going to be up less often because of the hit point regeneration. So I don't know. This will be an interesting one to watch. I think she'll be back in the meta. She's pretty slippery. She's a good god. You could build her with like 5 power items and a winged blade, and she's impossible to track down and kill. Winter's Grasp. Choose a location. Colors too far. Leap there. What? Holy shit. So you don't have to send him into battle. You pick where he goes. This is nuts. What the hell? This god's going to be insane. I didn't even know about this buff. Holy shit balls. This is amazing. Scotty's gonna be a good god moving forward. Barra's gonna love her. Everybody's gonna love her. I can't wait to play her. Unfortunately, PTS comes up tomorrow and I'm gonna be out of town. But Scotty's gonna be a good god. This is a cool. So basically, you pick where Calder's gonna leap to. If he's not nearby, he's gonna jump there and then throw a sandstorm out, or snowstorm, excuse me, and root everybody there. That's a pretty cool ability. I think it fixes one of the feels bad parts of Calder, which is I'm going to pick a place, or I have to sick him on somebody and hope that they don't kill him before he gets there so that I can use my ultimate. What's up, Satin? Yeah, but I mean, you could do that anyway, Demo. You could turn on her anyway. All right. Thor, I love this buff. If you're a Thor player, throwing out your 1 and feeling like it doesn't double tap, even though it should, is the worst feeling thing in the world. The Berserker Barrage changes. I love these changes. The reason this ability sucks is because it took way too goddamn long to get off your shit. Now with the changes, you swing 3 times instead of 2. So it's basically, it's 2 full swings and then a swipe in front of you, 180-degree swipe in front of you, which means that you can't just land in the middle of everybody and pray and just swing and hit everybody. Final damage swing, having more base damage and scaling than the normal ones is great. Initial power is higher. So I think, I'm pretty sure if you hit the final damage swing and you have some power built, this is actually, I think it's an early game nerf. No, not necessarily, because it's an 8-second cooldown with lower mana cost. So it's not that much of an early game nerf. It's an early game initial damage nerf because you don't have any power for the scaling to take over. But late game, I think if you got power online, if you can hit all 3 of these swipes, like, it's gonna fucking hurt. And the cool thing is like you get your combo off quicker, right? So the way that you combo with Thor is you land auto. I think you can auto twice. You land auto twice, stun, throw your 1 out auto. You know, it comes back auto, and then you 3. And the problem is that if they get unstunned, I know I did that wrong. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to do it, but the problem is that half the time they come out of your stun, your second stun, because of DR, and you just never get the damage off of the 3. This makes it so it's wholly front loaded. It's like Bologna Bologna bludgeon, and like way faster damage of this, and then you can get another auto attack off at the end before somebody comes off.
You poor motherfucker.
King Pharaoh, thank you for the follow. All right, Anvil of Dawn. I think this shit is awesome. Thor Lance's ultimate. You get chain lightning for 6 seconds. It's like Oboe. Initial target 20 plus 15% of your physical power. So late game, this thing's gonna hit really fucking hard. I don't know how many times this lightning can bounce, but what I do know is that if you hit, and I think this is supposed to combo with the 3, because if you hit 3 people, each one of them gets an initial target charge plus the physical power scaling, and then it will chain to the other 2. Right? So if you land on 2 people in a minion wave, or sorry, 2 or 3 people, like, this is going to do a shitload of damage if you combine it with your 3. So you land and you 3, you're going to do a buttload of damage just off these 2 abilities. So anyway, this I think is going to need some attention. Yeah, it procs on all 3 and chases the other. It's like hitting Oboe on 3 targets at the same time. The chain targets take a little bit less damage. It's half the damage of the initial target, but your initial target's going to take 20 plus 50% of your physical power. I mean, if you think about it, what is that? Like, I don't know, if you got 200 power, it's like 30 damage plus an extra 20. So it's like 50 damage on the initial target and like 25 on alternate targets. So it's not that crazy, but it's still pretty good. I think this will be interesting. We'll need to watch. I think Thor is going to be in the meta hardcore. He's going to be good. Thor is going to be good. Land 3, basic 3, basic. Yes, exactly. And use lightning twice. Correct. You start the 1 on Thor now? No, 3. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. It's got lower mana cost. It's got higher damage if things are in front of you. It's quicker too. I think that's the thing that most people are undervaluing from the change out of his 3 is that this ability is gonna, I mean, how long does it take? Like 3 hits of the Thor 3 is like a second and a half. The full ability was like a 3-second ability. You had to like sit there and like you sit and you spin and you wait and it hits 6 times. It takes forever. You're getting 80% of that damage out in the first second and a half, which means it goes on cooldown quicker. And it's on an 8-second cooldown. So you literally can use this on all your camps early game. And it's just like, boop, just bop them. Got a buff Ratatasker to have lightning from his ult now too. Yeah, the fucking people who compare Thor and Ratatasker are doing very surface level analysis based on things they read on Reddit. Hieroglyphic Assault. Every time a god is hit by this ability, this is 1, right? Dude, that's nuts. So if you hit 3 times on a god, what? This is nuts. Thos 1's going to be up way more often, and you can use it to poke on level 1 through like 5, right? So instead of having to, decide, do I want to poke the enemy mid laner or use it on the wave, I can use my first set to poke the enemy mid laner, and then my second set to clear the wave, and it's not going to have an impact. Reduce damage per shot. Wait a minute, that sounds horrible. You're basically going to have to get a god hit with 2 of your 3 shots every time you go to clear the wave. All right, so this is kind of a nerf and a buff at the same time. Oh yeah, increased damage by each subsequent shot by 20%. I mean, I guess it's okay. So you can take an extra 20% on the second shot and 40% on the third shot. Which, I mean, if you're just going off base damage is... it's not terrible. It's not terrible. I think if you combine this with like a Shaman's Ring, his 1's going to be super powerful. Ten-Hand Shadow Fist. This is his 3. Decrease cooldown. This is a good one. I think he'll be stronger in the jungle because of this. His 3 being on an 18-second cooldown is a super feels bad because you'd go to clear a camp and then you'd see an opportunity to gank and you're sitting there waiting for your fucking cooldowns to come up. I like this one. Zeus. After this ability is used, there's now a delay of time of 3 seconds for the enemy is hit with damage. So you can wait out and then Aegis is before this goes off? What the fuck? Zeus is garbage now. Oh, that sucks. I mean, it just makes his damage less free. That's okay. It gives you time to like shell and shit like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think this is going to be a huge hit, but you're not going to get Aegis baited anymore. Or not as often. 0.3 of a second is, I mean, you still have to react to that, right? Like most people. So 0.3 of a second is like the average human, it takes you 100 milliseconds to like realize something has gone on and then react to it, right? So, I mean, realistically, you have like 0.2 of a second to hit your Aegis before this goes off. Yeah, Jake. No, I understand. Like, you're going to get the visual cue on it, but that like 0.3 of a second is not a long time. So, anyway, that's the mid-season patch update. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. I mean, I think strong guys you're going to see. I think Thoth is going to move up to mid-tier. Thor's going to be top tier. Scotty's going to be mid to high tier. Rama, I don't think it fixes him at all. Nike, I think, is going to be mid to high tier in the support role. And all the rest of these are going to be interesting changes. But I still think Erlang Shen's going to be a top jungler after this, regardless of the free damage on his 1. I think we're going to see a lot more on her in Apollo. So let me know. Subscribe to my YouTube, and we'll see you for more.